Thanks so much for tuning in to Strictly Biased with Will Retherford. We see the Central Indiana Sports Report as kind of a sports section, and Will Retherford is our columnist. He's got opinions, and they're a little bit biased. Coming up, Will is going to review the third Sunday of the NFL season, and at the end, talk a little baseball. Will be back on Saturday morning to preview and predict all of the games for Week 4. Please join us this Saturday morning for that one.
Just because he's biased doesn't mean he's not right. Here's your host of Strictly Biased, Will Retherford.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition. We are out here on pre-Monday Night Football, I guess, about 15 minutes before game time on stage. I believe we called this 20 after Tyrese Halliburton and Andrew Nembhard, two of our favorite Indiana Pacers, on that incredible...
It's stage 20 off of stage 22.
Yes, but we are out here really excited to talk about an excellent Week 3 slate of NFL football. As we talked about in the pick show, it was an absolute 50-50 basically down the board. There was a lot that went right. There was a lot that went wrong, and we're going to sit and talk about all of it. I am joined out here tonight. I had to introduce him. He's the El Presidente of the Central Indiana Sports Report, the man that makes it all happen, that gives Central Indiana the best coverage.
You haven't used the word legend yet.
Legend, may I add, Greg Mingelt. Thank you.
Thanks, Will.
So, Greg, I have a lot to say this week, but first, what do you want to know?
I want to go a little off board here a little.
Okay.
How you feeling about the NFL booths this year, the guys calling the games?
You know, it's been a big talking point and conversation point on NFL Twitter especially.
Oh, it has.
And to be honest, I haven't really noticed it. It sounds bad. Just the people are on social media talking about how bad the commentary has been, that the crews don't seem cohesive, that they don't sound good.
Well, the reason I brought it up is I think they're great. I think the NFL booths are the best they've ever been. There's always been some horrible ones, don't get me wrong. Always. And I don't like Tony Romo. I don't think Tom Brady's very good at it right now. I'd like to see him maybe be a three-man booth. Mm-hmm. He'd be a lot better in that situation.
Yeah.
But overall, Ian Eagle is great.
Yeah, he is.
Greg Olsen is great.
J.J. Watt's been really good with Ian Eagle as well.
Of course, Jim Nance is great, and I think Tirico and Collinsworth are really good together. Not as good as Al Michaels and Collinsworth, but still. Mm-hmm. Herb Street's really good at it for what he does.
Yeah.
I think Rich Eisen, when it's on the NFL Network, is amazing. I think they've really upped their game over the years and stopped giving us trash. Well, because there's not much trash anymore.
And I think that almost goes to what I said as far as NFL social media gets all bent out of shape. It's because teams and fans of teams don't like when there's a homer, or don't like when you're biased towards one team versus another. I think in a perfect world, kind of like I said, you don't notice the booth. They're just an element of the game that you enjoy, and you don't. But it's not a distraction. It's not like we're sitting here and I'm watching the game and I'm like, my God, this booth is horrible. Like, it's just there to add a conversation piece to inform the fan, and I think. So far, what I've heard of, I watch the Colts games, obviously, and then everybody's watching the same primetime game, so we're all getting that same, those booths together. But I think for the Colts games in particular, which is a team and organization that very rarely gets ones, even twos most of the time, I think that the booths have been really good. I have absolutely no arguments one way or another.
And again, the Colts aren't playing any trash games, and there are some that aren't very good.
Yeah.
But they've mostly moved those to the bad games. And except for Romo, not a fan, but that's kind of a personal thing, and I'll never complain about him because he's so much better than Phil Simms, who I couldn't stand. So I'll never complain about Romo. I just wanted to bring it up because I feel like the voices have really added. And that's not always been the case.
Yeah, I think that in the NFL is a little different than like baseball, where, you listen to these people talk. one day a week. With baseball, it's a lot different. The relationship between the fan and the broadcaster is a lot different because, for your local regional broadcast, you're listening to the same person 162 games. Like, you almost build a
Completely different paradigm.
parasocial relationship. But I think with the NFL, it's almost the media and I think the sideline reporter, the play-by-play, and the analyst, like, they are there to just enhance the game. They're not there necessarily to entertain you the way that I think baseball commentators are. They're there to just be the usher from the game to the television. And I enjoy it. I love listening to the different voices. I am also... you brought up Ian Eagle. I think he is incredible.
Incredible.
I think he's incredible at...
Might be the best of all of them, and that's saying a lot.
Making his analyst be good too. He is excellent. I think he has helped usher J.J. Watt into this new era of being a play-by-play, analyst versus being behind the desk. It's been great so far. I have actually not really watched the pregame shows, whether it be the NFL on Fox or the
just awful.
NFL Today on CBS. I haven't really gotten the chance to watch them.
I wouldn't even waste your time. CBS is way better than the Fox one. I double checked this week. Fox is so bad, I can't even put it into words.
Really? Because I think that they can be awfully entertaining at certain times, and then other times I think it's a little repetitive as far as...
You find your drunk uncle entertaining? Because that's the only way I can find it entertaining is to make fun of them for how bad they are at it. And they have been for 20 years.
See, that's funny because I think that, as far as I wouldn't put them at the 3. I think the ESPN's coverage can be bad sometimes. I think that the ESPN NFL Countdown is rough. I do like it in the mornings when they play in overseas in London or, in this case, Berlin and Spain. I like that. I think the NFL Countdown, just because they start earlier so you're able to wake up and it's right there on the TV.
I think we've gone too far into this, Will, but...
We have.
I do want to say that the next time Terry Bradshaw says something interesting or relevant will be the first time.
Okay.
And Howie Long isn't that bad, but he's as big a cheese ball as there is. It's so bad. Oh, my gosh. And they're all just... I'll stop there.
Hey, Will, who are the winners and the losers of the week? Hey, Will, who are the winners and the losers of the week?
We are back here with 5 winners and 5 losers. I really enjoy doing this segment. I hope that the fans view it the same way. I think it's really entertaining.
The title's a little cliche, but it's a really good way to break down the week quickly.
I agree. And so this week I've been starting with the winners the last 2 weeks. This week I'm actually going to start with the losers because I think we need to go negative to positive because Colts are 3-0. There's only positives to look forward to.
Before we get going, can I say that Greg was a winner this week in his picks? And if it hadn't been for the 2 blocked field goals...
I know.
I would have had an incredible week. And the other one has to be your number 1 loser. The Raiders just shit the bed.
That's not my number 1 loser, but...
Go on.
Okay. All right.
Convince me otherwise.
Also did get shackled by the blocked field goal. That was the Rams would have been a big help for both of us.
I think you and I would have been 1 and 2 in the week if it hadn't been for that.
It would have definitely boosted me. All right. I did one honorable mention this year. I did it on the losers, and my honorable mention is the Dallas Cowboys, who just played like absolute dog water in Chicago.
I tried to warn you.
That pass defense is awful. I guess I should have seen the writing on the wall. You did warn me. You were absolutely right about that game. I was not convinced on the Bears based on weeks 1 and 2.
I'm still not convinced on the Bears.
No, I'm not either. But I just didn't expect that Dallas goes up there and just gets blown out. That was awful.
When's the last time a bad Cowboys team went on the road on a turf field or on a grass field and played well?
Well, and when you lay it out like that, absolutely, you're right. I thought this Cowboys team was a little better than they are. They're not. Their pass defense is abysmal. Micah Parsons' loss has really hurt that secondary. You can see it that they said, "Oh, we want to beef up the run defense." Great. Well, it doesn't matter because you're just getting.
And as it was happening, I was saying, man, the Cowboys suck. It's proving my point that the Eagles suck. They're getting their asses kicked by the Rams. I knew the Eagles, like I said on last week's Strictly Biased podcast, I knew the Eagles were not going to be a factor in this. And then all of a sudden, we saw a pretty darn good Eagles team in the second half. I know they got lucky. They got completely lucky to win that game.
Yeah, we did.
But the second half Eagles looked really good.
It's coming up. Let's wait to talk about it.
Good.
My number 5. Aaron Glenn and this Jets team has obvious talent, but they just cannot finish ball games.
True.
They looked bad in week 2 against the Bills. The Bills are a far superior team and organization from the Jets are. But like this Jets team week 1, they looked really good at home against the Steelers. If it wasn't for a Chris Boswell 61-yard field goal with, 30 seconds left on the clock, they probably pulled that game out. And then, obviously the Bucs pull one out at home last night, but you can see this Jets team is better, I think, than they were last year. Even with Rodgers being gone, I still think the talent's there. They cannot win.
I won't be surprised if they start winning some.
I think so, because you just see the talent. They're scoring points. They scored 30-plus week 1. They scored 27 this week. They did only score 10 in week 2, but
it's going to be week to week with Justin Fields, I think.
Well, and he didn't even
matchups.
play this week. Tyrod Taylor came out and played an excellent fourth quarter. That was one thing I did want to talk about was backup quarterbacks were 3-2 this week. There were 5 backup. Well, 2 of them did play against each other.
I know one of them that lost.
Yeah. My number 4, the New England Patriots had 5 turnovers. Wow. I can't view them as a playoff team for me anymore, and that they were my big kind of nobody talking about being a playoff team. And
there's still potential. They're so young they could turn it around, but I don't see it.
Can I ask a question? So I know that Vrabel did this with Derrick Henry early in Tennessee, where they were kind of slow to bring him along. They didn't necessarily throw him into the fire early in the year. He ended up basically playing a backup running back role his rookie year and then kind of burst onto the scene his second year. Is this kind of what they're doing with Travion Henderson? Why is he not on the field? They spent a high draft pick on him for Antonio Gibson and Ramondre Stevenson to still be getting the touches they're getting.
Derrick Henry was just learning the scheme, was the only reason he was held back a little. I don't understand this at all.
Well, to me, it feels like you have a running back on your team who
had
over 600 touches in his college career and didn't have one fumble. And they had, I believe, 3 fumbles due to their running backs yesterday.
It seems like when he gets the ball, good things happen usually too, and they're just not using it.
It baffles me because I just don't understand why you would draft him in the second round if you're not going to make him the primary focus of your offense.
I don't say this very often, Will, but Mike Vrabel knows more about football than I do.
He does.
So I'm gonna let him off the hook right now, but it's interesting.
It is interesting, but it's also you see the parallel between Derrick Henry. You do see that they were slow to bring him along. Maybe they're doing the same with Henderson, and we'll come back 8 weeks from now and say, "Boy, we were silly for even questioning it."
Yeah.
My number 3, Michael Penix Jr. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Is it time to consider Kirk Cousins coming back?
If it happens again, you have to, right? That roster seems to be good enough to.
Yeah.
But we saw it coming. When the Falcons are on the road, they're just not very good.
No.
And Penix does not look like an NFL quarterback to me.
To me, this was a team that could have almost been a number 1 loser of the week if I was that shocked that it happened. And I'm just not. I'm just not surprised. 30-0 in Charlotte against the Panthers, who played really poor the first 2 weeks. Yeah, I was a little surprised of the score, but not the Falcons' result.
Yeah, I picked the Panthers. I thought that one was kind of easy to see coming. The Panthers aren't that bad. We know that.
Yeah.
They're not good, but the Falcons on the road are just not good.
Yeah, it was just shocking. Carolina's strength of their team is obviously their defense, and they did a great job of shutting Penix out. They brought Kirk Cousins in with about 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and Bijan never really got going. They never really got the pass game running. Obviously, Penix had 2 interceptions, but can you get away with your team looking like this? You made the decision last year, which I think was a rash decision, benching Kirk Cousins and bringing Penix in. It's starting to look bad now because Penix has really largely underperformed. Even that game on Monday Night Football in Minnesota, he didn't look good.
No, I kind of subscribe to that philosophy, though. We know what we have with Kirk Cousins. Let's see what we have with Michael Penix. We're not winning a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins. Maybe there's a higher ceiling with Michael Penix.
Maybe.
But is it 2 words or 3, Will? Backup quarterback.
Hell no, that's a lot of words.
Because that is a career backup. Michael Penix is a career backup.
I think so. I agree with that. Moving on, the second biggest loser of the week is the Cincinnati Bengals. They have no chance of making the playoffs.
Nope.
Apparently, Jake Browning can only play well against the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's must be some voodoo there.
I'm sure there's like Justin Fields. I'm sure there are teams where he'll excel, but he's just not good enough to get him anywhere.
No. They're in that division. No
Too
way.
Tough.
No way that they're even the
They're
Cleveland
scoring
Browns.
0 against Cleveland. That's what I was about to say. They're gonna next time they play Cleveland, they might score 0.
Yeah, nope. It's unfortunate again. Joe Burrow's turned into this generation's Andrew Luck, but I mean, what do you do? I mean, when Joe Burrow plays, he's so good. You can't. It's not like you're ever going to let him walk. I mean, you just signed a huge extension, but it's unfortunate.
Do what I suggested the Bears do the last 3 years and draft nothing but offensive linemen and hope that 5 of them stick.
Yeah.
Because what else can you do? You have to protect him, and part of it is like Andrew Luck. Part of it's his doing. He's too tough for his own good. He steps into plays he shouldn't. True. He puts himself out there to get hit too much.
Yeah.
All that's true. He's part of the problem, but he's not the biggest part of the problem, and they got to fix that.
Yeah, I mean the Vikings went into halftime up 34-3.
Yeah, I was watching it. It was unfortunately on my television.
2 defensive touchdowns. Yeah, it's rough. 2 interceptions from Jake Browning. They only had 21 yards on the ground.
We didn't get the Colts in Jeffersonville. We got Bengals Vikings.
Yeah, well, that's awfully unfortunate for you.
Oh. And then we got Cowboys Bears.
That's disgusting. Disgusting. That was tough watch.
At least we get Lions Ravens tonight, right?
Yeah, that is true. My biggest loser of the week, and as a Colts fan, it is so sweet to say, but C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. It is no more Big Brother time in H-Town. They are 0-3.
And it's not going to get much better. They're not good. So, well, the Raiders aren't even on the list, huh?
No.
Because I went from thinking they could be a fringe playoff team to thinking they're horrible.
I never thought they were going to be a French playoff team.
Oh.
But
they're horrible.
Yeah, they're bad.
And as I said on draft night, never draft a running back in the top 10. They're not worth it. Ever.
You might be right on this one. But that offensive line's rough, too.
Even if they're a generational talent, good chance they get hurt and are never any good to you. That's just the life of a running back. Saquon Barkley didn't work out for the Giants, the team that drafted him.
That's true.
Just never.
That's true.
It almost never works out the way you think it's going to.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But no, the Texans just are awful. No, they're not awful. They're not awful. No, they're not. That defense is still good.
They're going to win 5 games.
That defense is still good. But
yes,
one thing
you're right.
I found really interesting is that
awful.
the conversation around C.J. Stroud has been, this is some, elite start of, if you could go back and draft all the quarterbacks, he's a top 10 quarterback you're taking off the board as far as where we're starting our franchise. I've actually went and looked up his stats and researched his numbers. This is his last 16 games going back into last year. 62% completion percentage. He has thrown for 3,200 yards. That's a 205 average per game, 6.8 per attempt. He has 16 touchdowns to 13 interceptions, 12.9 points per game, 0 top 10 fantasy quarterback finishes, and a 7-9 win-loss record for a Houston defense that has only allowed 20.6 points per game. That franchise quarterback to you?
I've seen him play. He's a franchise quarterback.
It's half his career now. He's played 32 games.
Behind an offensive line that's had a lot of injuries and isn't very good to begin with his weapons all injured, you got to give me those caveats at least and say we don't know for sure. I think he's good. I don't think he's the problem.
I just think that the national media conversation is pretty hypercritical of some other quarterbacks who are in similar...
Oh, it'll get there.
situations and have kind of let C.J. Stroud fly under the rug, and I don't want to be the one that does it because I do think he's part
Who's
of
he
the
getting the
problem.
ball to besides Nico Collins?
Well, they had
Yes, that's the problem.
Joe Mixon. Christian Kirk is still an awfully comparable slot receiver.
Okay. He's not bad.
He's not a bad slot receiver. Let's not put it. He's not a high end 2, but he's a solid 2.
Fair
Jaden
enough.
Higgins, you drafted a rookie. He probably still needs some time to develop, but
It's just I want to wait and see. On
Dalton
him.
Schultz is an admirable tight end. I think he's a middle of the pack tight end.
I just want to wait and see on C.J. Stroud. I'm certain though on the 2025 Texans they're done.
Yeah, well, it's really tough to come back from 0-3. The last team that came back from 0-3 was the 2018 Houston Texans, ironically. So they were the last team to do it.
Yeah, and that was a horrible division that year.
It was.
And that's the reason that happened.
Yeah, I'm also not sold that. Well, I am sold. I'm not sold that on C.J. Stroud. I am sold that this Texans team is done, and it was awfully nice watching Jacksonville beat them because we were talking. I would rather see Houston drowning than worry about Jacksonville. Just let's eliminate one problem as a Colts organization while we can, and then we'll tackle the next down the road.
Well, going forward, Jacksonville's the only one we need to be concerned
Absolutely,
about.
I agree. So now that we've got the losers out of the way, let's go to the winners, the positives. We're going to do this second this week, as I said, just because we want to give the winners a chance to be highlighted. You know, let's play the highlights, not the lowlights.
And now for the winners. I'm guessing the Cubs are going to show up on this list.
My number 5. We already talked about it briefly. The Carolina Panthers, big win at home, back to a competitive football team again. Are they?
I don't know. Again, incomplete. I think week 4 tells a lot more.
Okay.
Your thoughts?
They look a lot closer to the last year's Panthers when Bryce Young was playing well. That kind of came in and surprised teams and played good down the stretch. I don't know if I'm going to say that they're some super competitive team because Carolina's not winning that division. Tampa Bay's going to end up running away
It's
with
over.
it. But
That division's over. Unless
they-
there's a major injury.
can they win 7 games? I think so. I think they can win 7 games. I think their defense is still pretty good.
I think they're the second best team in the division.
I think Atlanta's still the second best team, but
Who's the second best quarterback in the division?
is there one?
Bryce Young? It's the
I mean,
second best.
probably. I mean,
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins is the second best quarterback
Maybe.
in the division.
He
but-
was 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, Tampa Bay's just got to be thrilled.
Oh my goodness.
Thrilled. My number 4, and I hate to say that they're a winner. Mike Hutzel will appreciate it. The Philadelphia Eagles just somehow do it again. Is this a team of destiny?
It was a great win.
Team of destiny.
No.
I agree, and I actually put that question in here because I don't know if you remember this last year, but the Denver Broncos lined up to kick a game-winning field goal in Denver to beat the Chiefs. The first time the Chiefs would have lost in Denver in like 6 years or something, maybe even longer. Bo Nix marched them down the field, and then Kansas City does what? They block the field goal to win the game and kind of keep their stranglehold on the division, per se.
Yep.
I think this is a similar situation to Philadelphia. I think that this is a great example of winning a game you probably should not have won. They looked a lot better in the second half, but still, I think LA largely outplayed them for a majority of that game, and it's false hope that this team is probably better than they are.
Well, I'm going to predict next week they're in your losers.
You think so? Okay.
You know they're playing the Buccaneers this week.
Yeah, it's a big game.
I think the Buccaneers take it to them.
Huge for seeding. Number 3, Caleb Williams. Maybe this was his breakout game. Maybe it wasn't. Is Rome Odunze now on the scene as a number
Seems
1
like it.
receiver?
Seemed like it yesterday.
I agree. He's actually, surprisingly enough, Rome Odunze leads the NFL in receiving touchdowns with 4. He is tied for the lead, but he has 4. And interestingly enough, Caleb Williams leads the NFL with 7 passing touchdowns.
Heard the name Roma Dunze a lot more the last 2 weeks than I did in week 1 and last year.
Yep, I think so. I think that Keenan Allen not being there obviously helps eliminate some of the competition for targets. I also think DJ Moore's probably on the downside of his career as well and slowed down a little bit. Rome seems to be the featured receiver of this team, so maybe it's a breakout year for quarterback wide receiver tandem, similar to what we saw with Joe Burrow when Jamar Chase was drafted to Cincinnati. I don't know. It's exciting, I think, for Bears fans because there is hope. You're starting to see Caleb Williams develop. I think he's coming into his form. I think Ben Johnson has loosened the reins, maybe not playing as tight. Ben Johnson was on the record saying that part of the thing that he really liked about Jared Goff was just how everything was so precise to the script and everything ran the same exact way. And he kind of struggled the first few weeks with letting Caleb do Caleb Williams things, which is a little bit more off script, a little less by the play call, a little more athlete just being an athlete on the field. So I think if there is a time for Bears fans to be a little excited, it's right now. But I still don't think they're winning the division. And I still don't think they're very good.
Still think they're the third best team in the division, and they're not very good. But yesterday was a sign. Maybe.
Okay. We'll take that. Number 2, runner-up, Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers. Once again, you were right. And really, you shouldn't have been. You shouldn't have been right.
Stop him right in the face.
Maybe I'm going to have to stop doing that, but I mean, they got one there.
You don't know how good he is. That's the problem, Will. You're still underestimating Jim Harbaugh.
Well, he is good. The Chargers have 3 huge wins against division opponents, and they played a neutral site, which they were considered the home team. They played an away game in in Vegas, on Monday Night Football, and then they obviously get the Broncos at home. I like that matchup. I'm interested to see what happens in Denver. I think that you saw maybe the home field, be an advantage to them last night. I'm excited to see where this matchup, and I guess you could call it a rivalry right now, where it goes when it goes back to Denver later in the year. But I still think those two teams are close.
Can I give you an off-book winner? And to me, that's Bo Nix, because he's convinced me that he's at least an NFL starting quarterback. He's got that downfield vision. He's never going to be horrible. He's a decent, but he's also not very good.
I disagree with that. I think that Chargers defense is good.
Yeah, it is.
Very good.
I also don't think he's very good. But we'll see. He's proven me a little wrong every day. I thought he was going to be a dud. He wasn't. Coming into this year, I thought he was going to be the anchor that weighed him down. He hasn't been.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that really, they're 1-2. They should be 2-1.
Yeah.
I mean,
It should be 3-0.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about, they're losing. Good. They're losing close games. That doesn't, it's very hard to see a team.
They're a top 5 AFC team.
I agree with that still. I agree with that. I'm glad that you've come around on Bo, because I've been on that team.
I think that roster's top 5
They're really
in
talented.
the league.
They need another receiver. When Evan Ingram doesn't play, they don't look as convincing offensively, I think. I think that when you remove kind of that joker back, they look a little bit more pedestrian as far as their skill players. That defense still plays ball, though. And they picked off Justin Herbert, which has been awfully hard to do. My number 1 winner, I mean, say less, but the Indianapolis Colts get it done in big-time fashion on the road in Nashville. What a win for the Colts.
Yeah, it wasn't just that they won. It was how they won. Like I said on the reaction show, 3 games, all 3 games they've come out prepared with a good game plan.
Yep.
I have some complaints about the play calling inside the 20s and not using Tyler Warren enough. But, man, Shane Steichen's been so good this year.
Yep.
Daniel Jones is I'm just going to go ahead and go with it. I might as well now. They're calling him Indiana Jones. There's no way they're ever getting rid of him. He's going to be our quarterback for the next 10 years now. So I might as well get on board.
He, by just proxy of playing this well the first 3 games, earned himself a contract somewhere.
It's
Somewhere.
here. It's no doubt
and
it's
going to
be
in Indianapolis, I think.
And there is something to be said for having an average NFL quarterback who you don't have to pay a top flight quarterback money to, and being able to put a good roster around him. The unfortunate thing, though, is that in Buffalo and in Baltimore, they have good rosters with great quarterbacks.
Yeah, they do.
And as long as you're going up against them, it's just, unless you have a great quarterback, I just don't know how you beat them.
Steichen's coaching like a coach whose job was on the line if he underperformed.
He has been so. He's the
been
coach
really
of the year
good.
so far, and it's not close.
Yeah, he's been really good. Couple stats for you. The Colts are the first team since at least 1940 with only one punt in their first 3 games. That's unbelievable. This is the most points an Indianapolis Colts team has scored through the first 3 weeks in team history.
You know, they're one of only 2 teams in NFL history to start 3-0 and punt fewer than 5 times, and the other one is the Patriots team that started 19-0. It had Randy Moss.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think this Colts team is legit.
Oh, man. I think they're legit the 4th, 5th, 6th best team in the AFC.
Jonathan Taylor, NFL rushing leader. Is he
Yeah.
a potential MVP candidate so far?
Yeah, it's crazy, Will. Yeah, I had an inkling that things were going to go this direction. And I guess now the only choice is just to go with it, right?
To play the devil's advocate,
Because they're going to win 12 games. I said it after week 1. The Dolphins aren't that bad, guys.
the Titans are.
Yes, but they just stepped on their neck from. It was never in doubt. That's what
true.
good teams do to bad teams.
I've said that after the post game reaction. I agree with that. If I'm going to play the devil's advocate, they've beaten 2 teams that are going to be fighting for the number 1 pick.
No
But
doubt.
you got to beat the teams that step in front of you, and you got to go out, which they got a tough one.
Big one Sunday.
Tough one on Sunday.
Big one Sunday. And you know, I want to tell you, I saw the line today. Vegas is begging people to bet on the Rams. They're begging people to bet on the Rams. I think Vegas believes the Colts are going to win this game.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right, Will. I know the Colts are going to be on your 5 most likely to win the Super Bowl. I just know.
They're actually not.
Oh, wow.
They're not.
Okay.
No.
Well, who are they?
And well, who are the 5 teams most likely to win Super Bowl 60 in the play?
Number 5, the Chargers. I'm done slapping Jim Harbaugh in the face. I believe in Justin Herbert
You made me slap myself
for
in my
a
face.
very long time. I always believed in the talent. This is a team that just finally learned how to win under Harbaugh, and that was something they lacked under Brandon Staley. They're really good, and I think they're going to win that division.
Jim Harbaugh got to a Super Bowl with Colin Kaepernick. Enough said.
Fair enough. My number 4, the Bucks. Didn't move, actually. They're your 3. I think we probably have our 3 and our 4 switch because my number 3 is the Eagles.
Eagles aren't my top 5.
Okay.
I can just see it. They're going to fall apart by the end of the year. I'm just come back to me at the end of the year and tell me how stupid I was, but I'm telling you, I'd probably put them at number 6. They're still talented enough to win it, no doubt about it.
They're going
And
to
that team that played in the second half of yesterday's game was a scary team.
Yeah, they are.
For sure. But I have a feeling that they're going to play a team that is a much better team next week, and we're going to find out.
Okay.
I don't think the Packers fall very far. I think it was just one of those games.
Yeah.
I thought their defense was amazing yesterday. And Joe Flacco, man, again, I told you this last week. Cleveland's roster is too good to be this bad. They need to find a quarterback now because up front on both sides of the ball, they are full-grown men.
Yeah, they are. I think Joe Flacco can lead this team to the playoffs.
Oh,
if everything goes right. He did it before. Why can't he do it again?
All right. Well, I didn't mean to laugh at you, but I've been dealing with the Browns my whole life.
It's possible.
And they're just
It's
that
possible.
funny. I'm laughing at them, and I've been there. I look at that roster and I think, man, if they could just get some weapons and a quarterback, and it's not just the quarterback, the weapons too, just are not good enough. And they did not win that game yesterday, except for that their defense kept them in it and they got some lucky bounces. And I know it's obvious who's going to be number 2 and 1,
It's the Ravens and the Bills.
but what order?
The Ravens 2, the Bills 1.
I still think it's the Bills 2, Ravens 1.
I took the Packers off this list because they still just have issues with the receivers. I don't know what it is.
They need a 1.
I don't know what it is about that franchise. They've struggled since Devontae Adams left. Jordan Love threw a pretty putrid interception there that really kind of cost him the game.
He's still developing.
I know, but I just think that the Bucks and the Eagles might be too good for you to still be developing at that time.
I agree. I think the Buccaneers are really close to the Bills on my list now. I think the Buccaneers are by far the favorites in the NFC. I think Emeka Egbuka is special, and I mean special, like future Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's
special.
really good.
Already, he's making an impact. He catches every ball that comes near him, and I think this Buccaneers team is headed for the Super Bowl. And how's that for an overreaction? And by the way, they beat the Jets by 2 points, and
It's
I
not
still feel that way.
It's not an overreaction. We both said that. I mean, we've been high on them the whole time. I do have my 3 most likely for the number 1 pick again. If you'll let me just rattle those off real quick.
I want to talk a little baseball if you want to stick around.
Yeah, I would love to. So I've got the Giants, Saints, and Titans 3, 2, 1 in that order. Giants 3, Titans 2, Saints number 1.
I think that's fair. I don't know how the Dolphins got off your list.
Because I think that they're still just
Tyreek Hill's going to
they're
win you a
just good
couple
enough
games.
to win you a couple games. That Saints team, they might not win the game the whole year. That's not an exaggeration. They're really horrible.
Everyone was saying, last week, they played a couple close games. And I was like, oh, man, if they win a game.
They're really bad.
It's a bad roster and an even worse quarterback situation. But at least they're going to have a good one next year. Because this draft is loaded with them, and they're headed for a good pick.
Yep.
That's for sure. I'll be stunned if it's not the Saints.
I would
I think
too.
the Titans are going to win some games. I think, I'll be stunned if it's not the...
I agree with that.
All right. Can't wait to see what happens in the game Monday night. We will talk about that on Fridays. Strictly Biased with Will Retherford. Thanks for talking some NFL. Everybody stick around. We're going to do a special bonus segment because we have a week left in the baseball season, and it's starting to heat up.
It is.
Going to talk a little baseball. Will, are the Reds going to make the playoffs?
I still don't think so, but right now they control their own destiny. I think it's going to be hard for them. We talked about this off air. I don't like the fact that they are now the hunted. I think they may have just gotten to that wild card spot a few days earlier than they should have, because now you go in and you play with the expectation of, I don't want to lose. And you start not playing to win. It just changes the psyche of the team a little bit. This is a Mets team that has experience with these runs. They obviously put together an incredible back half of the year last year to...
And the Cubs clearly aren't playing well.
Yeah. And the Cubs are riding it in. They can't win the division, and basically they're just gearing up for the wild card, the series, getting to host the 3-game set. But I don't know. I'm just not convinced. I'm still not convinced the Diamondbacks won't be in. I mean, I think that's a team that has played really well of late. They have the star power to do so as far as Corbin Carroll. This is just a really strange, because I thought that this was a year where the wild card teams were going to be around 90 wins was probably what's going to shoo a team in. The Cubs are going to get to 90 wins probably, but I don't think the Padres are, and obviously the second team can't get to 90 wins. So it's definitely been more competitive than I originally thought, but I think if you go back and look at our playoff teams, we might be spot on. Not sure we've missed. So...
Well, let's talk about the American League then. Cleveland or Houston?
I mean, can neither make the playoffs?
Cleveland's playing awfully well.
I don't like the Astros, so I guess give me Cleveland. They are playing a lot better as of late. It's weird to me that this American League wild card is going to have their second and third wild card team have more wins probably than the National League, because I think the National League is so much better than the American League is, but that also it comes from the benefit of there are also a lot of teams in the AL that are really bad as well. Really, you take away the Rockies from the National League, and it's a rather competitive National League. You've got a lot of teams within close to 500, give or take.
Tons. It was a very competitive season.
You know, Cleveland's 9-1 in their last 10. They still have a negative run differential,
I
which
know,
is
it's
outrageous.
I know. Now they have a 59% chance of making the postseason.
Yeah, give me Cleveland. I think they pull it through.
Phillies, Dodgers, or Padres? Because I know you're not going to say the Brewers.
I'm the most convinced on the Phillies, I think.
You agree with me on the Brewers, right?
Yeah, I just somehow they'll
They're like
lay
the
an
Illinois
egg.
football. They're impossible to take seriously.
They're impossible to take seriously when it comes to the postseason. As far as the regular season, there's not a team I want to face less than the Brewers.
Year to year.
But for whatever reason, just can't get it done in October, and I don't see that changing. I think part of it just has to do with the sheer fact of the way that they win in the regular season is sustainable, but it's tough to win that way in the postseason, especially when you're going against lineups like the Phillies and pitching staffs like the Phillies.
And if they were competing against the American League, which, by the way, they used to, I might give it to them. But those three teams are better baseball teams than the Brewers.
Without question.
Postseason baseball.
I think on paper you'd say the Cubs are probably a better team.
Agreed.
But the Brewers just find a way to win. Yeah, I see this as being they get beat in their first round. That would be the divisional series. I think they get beat by whoever they play.
You liking the Yankees in the American League or Toronto? Ugh. Seattle's playing well.
You know, I think the Yankees are the best team. The Yankees record should be better than it is. The way that Toronto has won baseball games is not sustainable in the postseason. I'm interested to see how Bo Bichette comes back from that PCL strain in his knee that he is going to have missed about 3 weeks before the postseason. I don't think he comes back to full form. He's probably not healthy. He's a huge part of that lineup. So give me the Yankees. I still think they come out of the AL. Not the East. They're going to be the wild card team, but I think they come out of the AL just by happenstance of they are the best offense and they have such a home field advantage in October, and I think that matters in baseball.
That was a good one. Thank you so much for listening to Strictly Biased with Will Retherford, and thank you to Will. If you enjoyed the Central Indiana Sports Report, please do us a huge favor and share this podcast with a sports fan in your life and help spread the word that the Central Indiana Sports Report is here talking about Central Indiana sports every single day. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.